Good afternoon, Year 6, and welcome to Topic on Monday. I will present my screen to you and our lesson will begin. So over the last few weeks, we've been learning about Charles Darwin and his voyage to South America that took him to the Galapagos Islands, and how that helped to embed and begin his theories on evolution and adaptation. So today we're going to look at Darwin's finches, and the finches that he observed whilst visiting the different islands in the Galapagos started him thinking about how they were slightly different on each island, and why this was, and how this adaptation had come about. So he started to think about why were these finches different? They were in the same part of the world, but why were they different? And so this underpins one of the key concepts and theories behind his book, The Origins of the Species. So it is Monday, the 1st of March, a new month. We're in a topic lesson, but we are looking more at the science part of our topic, and we're going to explore Darwin's finches. So our learning for today is to understand that animals adapt to their environment. Our focus is to know some ways that animals adapt to extreme environments. Our purpose is to understand why adaptation is essential to survival. And our assessment is you will correctly answer questions about what you've learned. So evolution and adaptation, we've done quite a lot of work on this and in science as well. So we've already learned about it. So the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is, can you remember what these words mean? I'm going to give you a little bit of time to recap on this. We've got inheritance, evolution, and adaptation. They're all words that we have learned previously, both in topic and in science. So, evolution describes the changes that happen in the same species, living in the same location over a long time. So, the same species, so the species that Charles Darwin explored, investigated, was finches. In the same location, so they were all on the Galapagos Islands, on different islands, but they're all in the same part of the world, and over a long period of time. Evolution does not describe people changing their bodies by exercise or dyeing their hair. Evolution happens over a much longer time and can only happen between parents and offspring through inheritance. Evolution. A species is a group of animals or plants that are very similar. Members of a species share the same characteristics. Humans, lions, sunflowers, and cats are all names of a species. Charles Darwin was a naturalist, and we've learned a lot about him over the last few weeks. You should have created your biography about him. And last week we looked at specifically at his journey on HMS Beagle and the investigations that he carried out during his voyage. So he was a naturalist who lived from 1809 to 1882, and he's famous for traveling the world, investigating what makes animals and plants different, and introducing the theory of evolution. Evolution. Charles Darwin realized that all the living things in a particular species are slightly different, just like we are all unique. So we might have the same eye color as someone else, but different colored hair. We might have the same hair color, different colored eyes. Shape of our noses might be different. shapes of our faces, and of course the colour of our skin, making us unique. Life is often very hard for plants and animals, and some will die before they get the chance to reproduce. Therefore, offspring who inherit the best characteristics for survival are more likely to reproduce and pass their characteristics on to their offspring. A peahen female picks the peacock with the brightest and biggest tail feathers to mate with. Peacocks have evolved accordingly, and it is rare to see one without big and bright tail feathers. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that only now we see peacocks with huge bright tail feathers that they fan out? It's because in order to survive, the species needs to be the best that it possibly can. And so in order to attract a mate, the peacock has to be able to show its tail to the female. And when she sees this, she knows that she can mate with that male and they will have strong young that will carry on and survive. The Galapagos finch parents reproduce and create offspring. And before you go on to the next slide, I would like you to watch this video. So here is the video. Click on the link. Hopefully it will work. And then when you do, you can enlarge the screen. Or in case that doesn't work, I've put the link there as well, which will take you straight to YouTube and to the straight to the same video. So either way, you should be able to watch the video. When you've watched the video, I would like you to come back to the slides. Welcome back. So we'll look at what you've watched, the video that you've watched in slightly more detail. So the Galapagos finch offsprings are slightly different and unique. They're all slightly different. When bad weather affected plant growth and there were fewer seeds to eat, the offspring had to eat larger seeds that would not normally be part of their diet in order to survive. Only the offspring with large beaks could break open and eat the larger seeds. Therefore, these offspring survived and the other smaller beaked offsprings died. Galapagos finches with large beaks reproduced and had offspring. More of these offsprings inherited larger beaks, and so Galapagos finch species started to evolve to have longer beaks. This is an example of how animals and plants adapt to their changing environment. This process of adaptation is natural selection. Now, there are different species. This is just one particular species on the Galapagos Islands that inherited the large beaks. Some inherited longer pointed beaks, and it depended what their diet was, what they ate, and the video would have explained that to you in more detail. So the Galapagos finches on each island evolved their beak to enable them to eat, to survive. So your independent task today is to read through the information sheets that are in your classwork and answer the comprehension questions. And should you complete that, there is a challenge question where it asks you to research one of the birds that are on the sheet and write about how the species has adapted over time. So let's have a look at the sheets. Okay, so all of this is information, so you need to read the sheets. Information about Darwin's research, and then it goes into more detail about 3 particular species of finch: the large ground finch, the small ground finch, the sharp-beaked finch. And then there are questions related to the text that you have read. So answer those questions in as much detail as possible, please, and in full sentences. And I've attached a Google Doc for you to use in order to complete answering the questions. And then when you scroll down, there is part 5 that tells you about other species of birds that have also had to evolve over time in order to survive. And it gives an example of pelican, bald eagle, toucan, long-billed doe-witcher, a nightingale, and a woodpecker. So the extension task is to research each of these birds, identify the habitats in which they are found, and identify what they eat. Explain how their beaks have evolved into the perfect tool to help them with their diet. So there's lots of research there. So that should take you through to tomorrow's lesson. If you are not part of the climate crew, if you are part of the climate crew, you will do up to wherever you reach today. But if you are a home learner who's not part of the climate crew, you can complete this task. So enjoy learning about Darwin's finches, and I look forward to reading your work. And I shall also look forward to seeing you back in school very shortly. Thank you.